They rammed our fence again last night, 3 black SUVs with fake HOA decals. Headlights slicing through the dark like searchlights. The impact shook the whole ranch, splintering 50 years of family history into flying debris. My grandpa's shirt went red before I even realized he'd been hit. That was the moment I knew this wasn't some neighborhood dispute. This was war. 15 days earlier, life had still felt normal, or at least what passes for normal when you live out on unincorporated county land with no neighbors for a mile. I'm Emma Reynolds, and I live with my grandpa Frank, a retired civil engineer who still fixes things around the ranch like he's on a federal contract. We've never had a homeowners association here, never needed one, but that didn't stop Karen Hayes from showing up. The first morning she invaded our lives, I woke up to the sound of a car horn blaring like an air raid siren. A black SUV was idling at our gate, the words HOA Enforcement stenciled across the side in bold white letters. A man stepped out wearing a Navy uniform that looked like it came from a Halloween store, shouting about property inspections. Grandpa walked out in his flannel shirt, coffee mug in hand, and said calmly, "Son, there's no HOA out here, never has been." The fake officer just smirked and handed over a citation for overgrown grass. By day 3, they were back, new citation, same smug smile. By day 7, someone was pounding on our door at midnight yelling about fence violations. By day 10, envelopes demanding $1,500 in fines started flying over the fence like threats delivered on letterhead. I started recording everything, 15 videos in total, each one crazier than the last. I even labeled the folder Evidence. It felt official. It also felt useless. See, out here when you call 911 about property damage, they tell you to file a report tomorrow. Sounds like a civil matter, the dispatcher said when I called after the second ramming. Grandpa hung up the phone, staring at the blood soaking through his sleeve. Civil matter, he muttered. Guess my shoulder didn't get the memo. The woman in charge, Karen Hayes, showed up that night. She rolled up in a pink business suit and designer heels, stepping over our broken fence like she owned the dirt beneath it. "I'm the president of the Meadowbrook HOA," she announced, her voice sharp and smug. "This property now falls under my jurisdiction." Grandpa stared at her like she'd started speaking in tongues. "Ma'am, Meadowbrook is 10 miles away." Karen smiled, tossed a fake invoice at his feet, and said, "Not anymore." I wanted to believe it was just a misunderstanding. Maybe she was confused. Maybe there was some zoning mix-up. But the next morning, 3 more SUVs cruised by, filming our house. That's when I started to feel it, the kind of fear that sits in your chest and doesn't go away. Over the next week, things got worse. Grandpa's fence was rebuilt, then rammed again. He patched it. They rammed it harder. The man who taught me how to build birdhouses now wrapped his shoulder in gauze before breakfast. I started sleeping with my phone under my pillow thumb, hovering over record. Every sound outside made me jump. I was 10, and already I understood what helpless felt like. Then came the breaking point. One afternoon, I looked out the window and saw Grandpa sitting by the fence, staring at the wreckage like he was doing math in his head. I asked if we should just sell and leave. He didn't answer, so I asked again. Maybe we should just stop fighting. His eyes softened, tired but steady. "Emma," he said quietly, "sometimes the law doesn't protect you, but physics always will." That night, I uploaded every video I had to our community Facebook page. I titled it, "Fake HOA Scam Terrorizing Elderly, Please Share." I didn't expect much, but by morning it had 15,000 views, then 40,000. Comments poured in from strangers saying the same thing. "They did this to my mom. My grandma's been paying them for a year." I created a private group for victims, and within 2 days, 140 people joined. One woman wrote, "My sister's the county commissioner. I'm sending this to her right now." Her name was Helen Wilson, and she called Grandpa the next morning. Her voice was shaking with anger. "My mother was paying those people too," she said. "She thought it was real. We're opening an investigation immediately." That call, parce, changed everything. everything. Within days, we had proof Karen Hayes was running an organized extortion ring. She'd hired muscle through Craigslist guys paid $1,000 to play pretend cop. Fake uniforms, fake fines, real money. Her company, Hayes Property LLC, was buying homes from the victims she terrorized for half price, then flipping them. A $1 million fraud built on fear. While Helen gathered the legal team, Grandpa started sketching something on his old laptop. I leaned over his shoulder and saw a blueprint filled with arrows and angles. "What's that?" I asked. "A new fence," he said. "But not just any fence. This one fights back." He called it a reinforced kinetic barrier. I called it a steel monster. Railroad rails angled 15 degrees outward, welded to concrete footings 6 feet deep. Springs built to absorb impact and redirect the energy. Grandpa grinned like a man half his age. "Newton's third law," he said. "Every action has an equal and opposite reaction." Let's see if Karen understands physics. Word spread fast. Contractors, neighbors, even off-duty deputies came to help. "We're tired of her," they said. "Let's build something she can't break." Within a week, our ranch looked like a construction site. Trucks poured concrete welders through sparks, and every angle was checked twice under Grandpa's supervision. We posted warning signs every 10 feet. Reinforced steel barrier. Do not ram. You are being recorded. Everything by the book, every bolt legal. Karen noticed. Her social media posts turned from smug to unhinged. Illegal fortification. Phase 2 coming. She wrote in all caps. Then she went silent. That silence was worse than the noise. One afternoon, I was finishing homework by the new fence when I felt a vibration under my feet, low and growing. Grandpa looked up just in time to see 3 SUVs barreling down our driveway. "Emma, move!" he yelled. I froze. He sprinted faster than any 72-year-old should and tackled me out of the way as the first SUV slammed into the fence. Wood, splintered metal screamed, and something heavy hit Grandpa's shoulder again. They didn't stop there. Karen stepped out of the middle vehicle, heels clicking through the debris. "Tragic," she said. "Non-compliance has consequences." Her tone was almost gentle. Then she smiled at me. "Sweet girl. Maybe you can convince your grandpa not to make things difficult." That night at the hospital, I watched doctors wrap Grandpa's shoulder and felt something in me break. I opened my phone, hit record, and said, "She hurt him. She threatened me. This ends now." Then I posted it. Within hours, our victim group exploded with outrage. Enough one man wrote, "She went after a child." Helen announced an emergency community meeting for that same night. By morning, 50 people showed up at our ranch ready to build. Real help this time. Bill Thompson, our contractor neighbor, took charge. Helen handled the paperwork. Grandpa, sitting in a wheelchair, ran the operation like a general. He explained every detail to the volunteers. The rails are angled 15 degrees to redirect force. Springs absorb the rest. If they hit it, physics will answer. 4 days later, our fence gleamed under the setting sun, 200 feet of railroad steel welded into place. Cameras covered every angle. Deputies stayed nearby, warrants in hand. We were ready. Karen's final post went up that night. Tomorrow, they learn about true power. The next morning, the air felt electric. News vans parked down the road pretending they weren't waiting for chaos. Half the neighborhood came to watch. Grandpa and I sat on the porch, Duke the dog at our feet, live stream rolling. Then came the dust cloud. 3 SUVs, same decals, same arrogance. Karen stepped out tiara, glittering a pink suit brighter than the sun. "Remove the illegal fortification," she shouted through a megaphone. The crowd booed. Someone yelled, "You're a fraud," she snapped. Positions. Prepare to ram. Even her hired drivers hesitated. "Ma'am," one said, "those are railroad tracks." She screamed, "Do it. $1,000 each." Engines roared. The SUVs lined up. I could barely breathe. Grandpa whispered, "Every action equal and opposite reaction." The first SUV hit the corner. The steel didn't move. The car crumpled like a soda can, bouncing backward 10 feet. The driver stumbled out bleeding, throwing his fake badge to the ground. I quit. The second SUV, Karen's, slammed dead center at 40 miles per hour. Springs compressed metal flexed, and then Newton took over. The whole vehicle launched backward, spinning twice before landing facing the wrong direction. Her tiara flew off into our garden. Her wig went the other way. The sash she wore, HOA president, tore in half so it just read, Ho. Preside. She crawled out dazed, still shouting, "You can't do this. I'm the president." The third SUV hit slower. Saw the wrecks and stopped trying halfway through the run. The drivers got out. Hands raised, shouting, "We'll testify. She lied to us." 3 destroyed SUVs. 1 undamaged fence. The crowd went silent. Then came the sirens, real ones this time. Deputies surrounded Karen as she tried to wave her clipboard like a royal decree. "You're under arrest," one officer said, "for assault with a deadly weapon fraud and racketeering." She screamed about jurisdiction until the handcuffs clicked. I kept streaming. Over 300,000 people watched live as Karen Hayes, self-proclaimed president of nowhere, was hauled off to jail. And that's where my story ends. Not with celebration, but with silence, the kind that comes after justice finally catches up. When people ask what I learned from all this, I think of Grandpa's words. The law can fail you, but physics never lies.